is the Fujifilm XT4, the perfect travel camera for traveling creators or full-time traveling creators such as myself. That's what I want to find out in this mini-series about the Fujifilm XT4. I'll test it for stills, time-lapse, video, vlogging, and compare it to my full-frame Panasonic S1. I'll make separate videos for each test, and at the end of the week of testing the camera, it will decide the fate of my big, bulky, full-frame Panasonic S1. So subscribe to follow along on this video series on testing the Fuji XT4. I'm not huge on specs. Most important to me is that I like to use the camera, that it is lightweight, so I'll actually bother to take it along with me wherever I go, which is not the case with the full frame. The Fuji has a 26 megapixel sensor, a flippy screen which makes it ideal for vlogging. Autofocus is also supposed to be really good, and I can't say that for my Panasonic cameras. It films in a 4K 60 frames per second, has a built-in intervalometer for my time-lapses, and it's much smaller than my Panasonic. If you want to know more about specs, you can find several videos here on YouTube about that. My point with these tests is to figure out if this camera does the things I want a camera to do well enough so I can minimize what I carry around the world and create more with less. I've had the XT30 and the X100F previously. I've owned those cameras and I absolutely loved it, what they are able to do in terms of stills. That it's just amazing what they can do. But for filming and for vlogging, I didn't quite feel it. So that's why I swapped back to the GH5 and a big Panasonic S1 full frame camera. But after traveling for 4 years, I found out that all this gear, 2 camera bodies, 2 different systems with different lenses, chargers, batteries and all that stuff, was just too much. It's too much to carry around, and it really kills the joy and pleasure of actually creating, which is the whole point. That's what I found when I was in Iran doing a street photography project. The camera I used the most was not the big bulky S1, but the much smaller Fujifilm X100 that fits just in my pocket. I feel that having a smaller camera is less invasive when you want to do street portraits of strangers. So when the Fuji launched the XT4, I really wanted to give it a go as my one and only camera for everything on my travels. Also, when I went to Tokyo, of course I got some really good time lapses with the Panasonic S1, but for stills I just used my XT30. But then again, with the Fujifilm cameras, they didn't have the flippy screen, they didn't have IBIS, in-body image stabilization, and it wasn't weather sealed. Which is a big deal in humid jungles like this, or rainy days in Tokyo. So I thought, okay, I gotta stick to just one camera. I really want to travel with as little as possible. I sold the XT30, and then I saw that not too long ago the XT4 came on the market. And it has a flippy screen, it has IBIS, it is supposed to be really good at filming, and I know for a fact that the Fuji cameras, they are just excellent at stills. So, this week will determine whether or not I will still keep the S1 that I'm filming on now. It's a full frame camera. It is really bulky and the lenses are also super heavy, but it is great for creating time lapses, and I do that quite a lot. So I want to figure out if this camera is also capable of producing the same result, or more or less the same result. I will be testing it for street photography, how it feels, how it handles. That's going to be tomorrow. Then I'm going to test all the film simulations that Fujifilm is famous for. On my previous videos on the Fujifilm cameras, there was always questions about the film simulations. So I'm going to test that as well. And there will be a big test on time lapses side by side to the S1. That is my main time lapse camera. I hardly ever use it for anything else than time lapses. And I don't do enough time lapses to justify having a $3,600 camera just for that. So if the XT4 produces more or less the same results, that might be the deciding factor if I sell the S1 or not. So you can subscribe to find out. I want to scale down when I travel, and honestly think that most cameras these days are really good. So you don't really need that much. You need one body. I'm not a professional time-lapse photographer, I'm not a professional street photographer or a portrait photographer at all. I just like to do these things. So I want a system that is capable of producing great results in these different genres. So I want a camera that does everything that I want to do with a camera. I think this is the solution with a flippy screen, with the stabilization, and it's weather sealed as well, so I can bring it out without feeling that I might break it when it's raining a little bit, because I really do like to take photos when it rains or in moody situations like that. And yeah, scaling down, because I remember when I was in Tokyo, I was lugging all my gear around with a big tripod, all the lenses, the Fujifilm, the XT4, everything in one backpack, and it just, at the end of the day, I was just exhausted. Sure, I got great results with time-lapses. I got some amazing time-lapses from Tokyo. I'll link to the Tokyo time-lapse video up here somewhere. And I've got great results from other travels as well, but still, there's this, do I really need this full-frame camera body when I can have a much smaller body, much less gear to travel with? I mean, when you have all the batteries, we have the chargers for 2 different cameras, it's just too much, and I want to scale everything down. Thank you so much for watching the video, even though I said scaling down probably one time too many, but there you go. I think I got the point across, which is to travel and create more with less gear. That's what I aim for, that is the purpose of this little video series. So I hope you will subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, that really helps what I do, which is travel the world full time. And I can't wait to get started again. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.